I'm Sconchulus, and this is TEPPEN Deck Tech, where I present to you decks that are fun, strong, or interesting. I just want to give it some space, some weight, and gravity, because this might be the last time I say those words. Today we are playing my most played character in TEPPEN. With 10 videos in this series alone, along with more than 15 streams, X is my favorite character, my strongest character, and the only character that could be the final episode of TEPPEN Deck Tech. Starting off, the most important thing about the deck is the hero art. This is the win condition, not just the cards. Any unit at all can win the game using Charge Shot. What Charge Shot does is grant all units an attacking effect to deal damage equal to their attack +1. This lets you attack over any blocker, making for unblockable direct damage twice if you time it right. On top of that, Charge Shot grants a classic +1 attack buff every time you boost a unit's HP. And that's where we start to combo. Fluffy Bunny Dongo is the strongest combo for Charge Shot ever printed, granting an immediate +2/+3 to all units with Charge Shot, along with another +3/+6 over time. The arguable strongest green card of all time. Battle Chip Hero Sword granted +5/+5 to one unit. This grants +5/+9 to all units for cheaper. All we need is the proper setup. The ingredients to cook with Dongo is just 4 evidence, so to collect evidence we play 3 Gina Lestrade and 3 Tetranodon. Tetranodon is a 3 MP 3/3 with an alternate cost of 4 MP to invade, which you should always pay because it basically pays for itself by searching another card at a discount, i.e. drawing the Gina that you actually want. And Tetranodon is the lowest risk turn 1, which is especially important because we always need the first few things we play to die so we can charge more AP for Charge Shot, which is 17 AP. It's not available on the first board you play. And that's where Gina really comes in. She is also the best starter, collecting an average of 8 evidence and having amazing stats of 3/9, but her best effect is the one that lets us bounce back and go all in harder. On her first level, she gives one enemy a death effect that gives us a 3 MP refund, which is essential to build your second board that has access to Charge Shot. Yomogi also has an enemy unit effect, but hers is a semi-board wipe. Extremely useful for also surviving until you Charge Shot. Both of the enemy unit effects are so important, you should never waste them on an empty board, especially Gina. It's just asking to lose. So, Tetranodon is one way to make your opponent play units before you do that. And so is the Princess. Very demure, very low investment. She's basically 3 more Tetranodon, searching a combo piece at low cost, but she does not collect evidence, so instead she's cheaper and has a shield. That shield, though, makes her a Yomogi the best finisher for your Charge Shot combo. Maeda Toshie is also a good combo finisher, but he's more susceptible to dying due to exposure, I suppose. And exposed he is. Still, he's really important as a low-risk starter similar to Princess, and for his combo with Tetranodon to collect just enough evidence for Dongo or for the legendary Let's Nyance, which almost is kind of a 4th Bunny Dongo, like a 5th of one, plus a bit of a board wipe. If resolved in a clutch situation, this is the biggest comeback card. And the final piece of the evidence core, suffering from thickness, is our Mika. She's got the soap from Fight Club, and she's not afraid to drop it. Mika is one of the elite cards in the deck that can be a charge shot win condition without any other buffs, and even collects the most evidence by a lot. Her only downside being she is higher investment, which does matter, so we only play 2. There's also 2 evidence legendaries, which you need. Bold and Beautiful Karen can collect evidence with her Ascend and Revive effect, and this effect is usually game winning, but it's rare to get the opportunity for. When you can do it, but way more important is her no unit aggro effect. Play her every turn 1 you can as a giant woman to inflict fear, and to present all this evidence in an objectifying manner. We have Great Attorney Ryunosuke, the deck's one true board wipe who has 2 effects. First, setting the enemy board to 1/1, and second, doing 3 damage to the board on every attack. Both also have different conditions. The first will activate anytime he's on board while you have enough evidence, passively. You don't have to gain evidence. And the second effect is unlocked by collecting evidence. So, since the first effect is passive, you will often use the first effect without the second effect, because it is way better. Unreactable, broken, but the second effect is still pretty godlike, especially if triggered by Gina Lestrade to get Ryunosuke to trigger the 3 MP refund from Gina, and immediately follow up for a huge charge shot. Now that play is a turnabout. And now our alternate win conditions, much grown from his days as boulder punching meme man. Chris Redfield is now a portent of the end. A removal spell on a body with infinite scaling attack. This is the one card that can fully solo carry using just charge shot and no other cards on board to back him up. You will almost always win if you solo charge shot a Chris. It's that good. Just be sure you play him in mid and time the charge shot properly. Next is Green's most insane card. Warping reality itself is light across space-time. For 4 MP, this turns any unit into a 10 MP behemoth with agility, a massive stat buff, and when played will refund 4 MP. It literally doesn't matter what is buffed. This is your strongest possible charge shot board, and it lets you go for charge shot with 2 units, including the one you follow up with, immediately on turn 1. Just use this and then your 10 MP card, and then play like 3 MP thing, charge shot, and you will win. And I forgot to actually write something written down about X, but he is the coolest, greatest card of them all, capturing every effect that X has. Charge shot is captured by the damage he deals to the enemy board, and the inevitability of his heavy pierce. Heart tank is captured by the buff he gives to himself. Gaia armor is captured by the veil and the buff he gives to his friends. And his badassness is captured by TEPPEN in general. And specifically, X, buffed by Light Across Space-Time, is in my opinion the strongest combo in the game right now. Get it while you can! I also need to mention the green Negate, a card we should have never been trusted with. No one's dying today, does what it says on the tin, and will protect all units from any action. This denies any Black Destroy, including the 6 MP board wipe, which will always hard confirm into a surrender. And finally, the last card, the most well-aged card in TEPPEN, the X's Butt card. Like a fine wine, this card. Confidently, I would call this the most powerful and best depiction of X's butt in all of video games, possibly in all of media. Its power is feared by all colors, it counters any unit, simple and effective, and it's a butt. My only regret is I don't have room for a third butt. Here's the QR code for you, and with all that said, let's get into it. Game 1, we are up against the top tier contender, Ray. I've seen this guy plenty of times, and I fully expect a top 100 finish out of them, which is going to be true of every opponent in this final episode. For the final one, I want every battle to be top level gameplay. So we'll start off with the top level strat of waiting to 10. Our opponent will invade to pass initiative, and we will go for a very rare play, a Gina on an empty board. But I feel confident they don't have a destroy that can destroy her right away. If they were on change form, they would have unreactable destroys. So we will go for our Yomogi and our Chris, but unfortunately it does not get the Yomogi effect, which will completely whiff. At least we get the plus 3 MP back, and we will go for an Mika to try and get some early pressure on. If we can charge shot with this board, we have a good chance to win. We will disarm to charge up to charge shot, and our opponent will go for a destroy. But like I said, I feel like I could win on this board, so we will go for our anti-board wipe, but they have another destroy, and now we just have to hope that they don't luck into drawing the legendary board wipe. Our opponent will go for a massive 4-unit Sekia, which is going to be a big problem. They will play down both of their big Sekia units after we go for Iris, which will be very risky. We will go for our Awakened Hero X to protect Iris for a little bit longer, and our opponent will discard a card from our pocket, which is kind of a waste of an interaction. It's just a waste of 1 MP. I didn't need that card. We'll go for Princess, extremely clutch, stopping the 7-1, and our opponent will be able to defeat our X using their Aoichi. Not Oichi, but Aoichi, and they will play down a little bit of healing. We will go for a full board, still trying to cycle for our win condition with Bunny Dongo. We do have the 10 MP all in, but that will take far too long. I feel like they would win if they go for that. They will use their hero art to go for a massive Sigma, and at this point we have no option but to play defensively. We will go for a hero art, which will exactly kill their Sigma with the 3 damage from charge shot and the 2 damage direct. And we will ascend for our Corinne, pulling back a Yomogi, which is extremely clutch in this situation. That unit could have been great for us, but they have the secret god weapon to board wipe us. So we will go for our Mika, our last chance to win this. We will go for charge shot in the top lane with Bunny Dongo. And at this point, our opponent has lethal in the bottom lane. They will go for the strongest black card of all time, which will do 2 direct damage and heal them 2 every time one of their units dies. And it puts a destroy timer on the Oinari. We will go for our triple hero shield, which will just barely protect us from all of the damage, leaving us at 1 life to win Game 1. Game 2, we are up against the great innovator of Red, Yeldir, the creator of the final top tier toxic deck of TEPPEN, Red Purple CEM, which is mega nerfed, so they are on their other signature mono CEM. We'll start things off with a Durbin, a card I hear they don't like, and we'll offlane with a Princess, which will get destroyed by Colonel before it can get too much value. We will go for a Maeda Toshie after our Gina Lestrade, followed up by an Aramika, and at this point we do have Fluffy Bunny Dongo ready. We just need to charge 3 more AP. Our opponent will go for an Amaterasu, getting a bunch of art charge. They will go for their first hero art, and we will use our Chris Redfield to remove their Amaterasu. We'll go for a Maeda Toshie to try to make our board wider, and at this point it is the right time to go for charge shot. Our opponent goes for Neptune, an extremely sick tech with the creature tribe and the inevitability with the rush effect, but we are able to remove their board using our Chris and charge shot. They are just fodder for us. Chris will become massive, and they are forced to play down their strongest interaction, which is always really strong. It refunds 2 cards back to their pocket at half cost, and they will play down their first card, Durbin, along with a discounted Neptune as well. And we do not time the seal correctly, which is probably why our unit dies. We are thankfully able to destroy Neptune thanks to Spillover, and our opponent goes for their last second block to try and stop us from winning the game, which would trade out if we didn't have the more last second removal spell, allowing us to get in Game 2 against the legendary Yeldir. Game 3, we are up against the most iconic charge shot player, KumoMek. There is no one more dedicated and more innovative than Kumo, which is why I'm proud to show off this battle between ex-aficionados. Let's see who's got the spice this season. Our opponent will start things off with an invasion to Tranodon, and we'll just go for a slightly later invasion to Tranodon. We'll play down our Iris, and they go for light destroying seal thing, which really defines Kumo's build. You always gotta play around that. They will invade their Tyrannodon, and with no follow-up, it really seems like they just wanted to search, and with the amount of charging they're doing, it seems like they're going for Ryunosuke. We'll invade another Tetranodon just to force them to do something, and when they don't, it becomes really obvious that they're trying to board wipe us. Still, when they go for it, we will just try and play through it. We've got the Bunny Dongo at the ready, along with Let's Nyance to give us even more HP. That will let us survive the 3 damage from Ryunosuke, even surviving the 3 direct hit for our Tetranodon. Everybody lives, and we get in a surrender for Game 1 against Kumo. And we're running it back. I have so many replays against KumoMek that it would be a waste not to show more than one of them. And this one should be more back and forth, because we also have Ryunosuke. You can assume Kumo has it, because they always draw the nuts. We'll start things off with Invasion Tetranodon, and they go for Gingham Fats, the key difference between our 2 builds. And we'll go for Chris Redfield to deny their possible evidence combo with the Gingham Fats. They just go for a Seal, which gets them 1 MP back, and they go for their 10 MP all in first evidence combo with their Gina fully leveling, and when we clear their Basket Attendant, they're able to go for their Charge Shot into Fluffy Bunny Dongo. Thankfully for us, Chris Redfield cracks the shield on Basket Attendant, and we were able to fully clear their board using Awakened Hero X. We'll go for Charge Shot into a Fluffy Bunny Dongo of our own, and the fact they don't surrender telegraphs that they have the Ryunosuke, which clears our board thanks to the Yomogi effect. It doesn't have its attacking effect. And they will play down Maeda just to charge some value while they're ahead. We'll go for our own Ryunosuke using its first effect, but we don't go for the second effect until they have their Karen, at which point we do reset them, and at that point they surrender significantly far behind. Game 4. We are up against Robk, and I'm pretty sure it's Robk, not Robk, who is the current season champion. And that says it all. This is the current best player in the game, playing one of the best decks. This isn't the deck they finished the season with, but they sure tried to. They'll start things off with Bold and Beautiful Karen, an incredible aggro start into Princess, which is a combo we love too, but did not draw. We'll go for Gina, and they will seal our Gina, but thankfully we do get Yomogi into Tetranodon, activating it, which will be just enough to defeat their Corinne. They will go for the 2 MP Sun, his legendary effect being that he's 2 MP, into Heat Gemblem, into a very rare and cool Hoggenmer, and they will go for Chris Redfield, trying to deny part of our evidence combo, but eventually we do get in a full board with Gina Lestrade, and we will be able to go for evidence, but they are able to seal one of our units again, and with just 2, and at this point just 1 Charge Shot unit, it's unlikely to beat a player like Robk off of just that. They will go for Saki as their removal spell, rather than Harpuia or something else. And they will go for another Saki. We will go for Chris Redfield to try and get our momentum back in there. We are able to refill our board with a bunch of MP boost units, and we will use the momentum from Chris with Charge Shot to try and take the game. Rock will go for Leader Summons, but at this point that is not a very helpful play when Chris is able to just beat over it, and they will perhaps miscalculate and surrender using a Chris of their own. And we're doing one more for the road. On this final episode, I want to show off every color, and the only right way to do that is the rival battle, X versus 0. So, we'll start things off by doing the green thing and getting some MP boost in there, and our opponent will do the purple thing and deny our play. They even get an MP reduction in hand from Club Girl's effect. So we will move on to the next play and attempt to invade a Tetranodon, but our opponent is really doing that purple thing and will deny that as well, cutting us off of a search and any evidence. And our opponent is going kind of crazy, spending every MP they have, which means there is no risk of going for Princess. They're just going to keep charging for memory. At this point, we have played into the middle lane, so we can't go for Chris at this point. And hopefully our opponent will just block that down. Eventually they play a Yuri, which will let us go for Chris if we so decide. But we also go for Gina and a Maeda Toshie, getting our evidence set up for our Fluffy Bunny Dongo, at which point our opponent will attempt to bounce us, but we have the negate ready, keeping board alive at this point, is basically going to be game winning when we can go for one last unit to complete our Fluffy Bunny Dongo combo board. We go for Charge Shot, activate the combo card, and you know what happens at this point. Our opponent surrenders, and we take Game 5 for the final episode of TEPPEN Teck. Here we are again, and I am glad to end the series with half as much a bang as TEPPEN itself is ending. And yes, TEPPEN is officially announced their end of service. We have 3 more months, and it's unlikely that there's gonna be any more patch changes, at least none announced yet. So this will be one of the top decks for 3 more months. If you haven't played it yet, if you want to return, this is your last chance to return and get some good X in there. And like I said, this is the strongest deck in the series history. I got to 2100 points, top 10 with this deck, and then I eventually dropped really hard by playing way more. I just can't resist playing when the game is ending. So let this be a call to all TEPPEN Xers and all ex-Teppeners. This is your last chance to come and appreciate the greatest character in the game and play him at a top level. The deck is somewhat customizable. You can swap some legendaries around. You can cut a Disarm or an Armika for a Chuck Green and an Iris if you like, an unwanted perhaps. But as it is, this is how I want to play X until the end. As far as matchups go, I honestly feel like we're in a stage where matchups matter less and less. It's just about playing at a top tier level and outplaying your opponent like it should be. That said, the one bad matchup is Green True Power. That is almost unwinnable. They get set up before we do, and once they're set up, it keeps us way far behind, and we struggle to set up against them. They are a big reason I play triple Disarm, and it still doesn't really do the job. I don't know what tech would do the job instead. Regardless, it's a good time to play green. I do have a budget version here for you, of course, but we're still playing Gina, and I left a bunch of legendaries in. It's the final season. Go all out. Spend all your souls and get a deck gift. Play the strongest X deck you can. As for the future of the channel, this is very likely the final episode of TEPPEN Teck. I wanted to go out with my boy X, and even with 3 months left with no new cards, I don't expect to make another full-on deck profile. Maybe a TEPPEN quick take with just to show off some sick replay. But I think this is the final episode of my main series. That does not mean the channel is going anywhere. We are going to continue to stream Capcom games, and we're going to continue to stream TEPPEN for 3 more months. But I'm going on a brief hiatus. I'm going to take 1 to 2 weeks off, and then we'll come back with more TEPPEN, back with Capcom games, and the channel will continue. In eternal thanks to everybody who has ever played with me in TEPPEN, all of the opponents who have beaten me, and all of the challengers who have failed. You are all equally important in my heart. You have made this game something special, something I will never forget. I hope to fight as many of you again as I can before the end. And I cannot thank you all enough for your support on this journey. Thank you all once again for your support and watching ship. I hope to see you all in future streams and future TEPPEN content until the end. This has meant the world for me, and it is something I will cherish for the rest of my life. As always, please like the video if you liked the video, subscribe if you subscribed. Once again, I'm Skunctulous, and I'll see you in the next one.